Everest looks calm from afar. Up close, it's pure pressure and wind.
This is the Southeast Ridge, where decisions matter more than strength.
Above 8,000 meters, time shrinks, and every breath costs. Spindrift turns ridges into moving smoke, without any sound.
The mountain writes its rules in cold, light, and thin air. We follow the route from base camp to the death zone.
No stunts, only safe distance, steady pacing, and clear lines.
Listen, wind, ice, and footsteps. Nothing else.
Today is a documentary of limits, not glory. We start with the approach and acclimatization steps.
Then the icefall, seen safely, like a frozen machine.
Then the climb, through camps and fixed ropes.
Finally, the summit window and the turnaround discipline.
Because coming down is the real test here.
Let's begin where the mountain feels almost human-sized. Morning light reveals every ridgeline like a blueprint.
Night hides the route. Headlamps become a quiet constellation.
Even in calm weather, the air stays unforgiving.
The death zone is not drama, it's physics. Small motions matter. A clip, a step, a breath.
In this film, patience is the strongest tool. We'll keep faces distant. The landscape leads.
Everest is beauty with consequences, always.
Watch how wind sculpts snow into temporary shapes. From space, the Himalaya is a white scar across stone.
Everest sits on a border ridge between Nepal and Tibet.
Getting here starts low, then climbs day by day. Thin air arrives gradually, long before the summit.
Base camp feels busy, but the scale stayed overwhelming.
Acclimatization is slow. Climb high, return low, repeat. Routes are planned without rushing the body's limits. Weather windows decide everything. Patience becomes strategy.
Wind tells you the jet stream's mood in minutes.
Clear mornings can turn violent by afternoon.
Ice and rock reflect glare. Angle control matters.
Hydration is scheduled because thirst lies up here. Calories are constant because cold eats energy silently. Every camp is a checkpoint, not a destination. Fixed ropes turn steep ground into a controlled corridor.
Crampons and ice steps demand attention, not speed.
We keep distance from crevasses and unstable ice.
Telephoto and drones do the close work safely.
The Khumbu Glacier moves, even when it looks still. The icefall changes daily. Nothing is permanent there. Starts are early, before sun loosens ice bridges. The western Khum can feel hot under reflected light.
Lhotse phase is blue ice, steep, repetitive, focused climbing.
South Col is a windswept saddle with almost no comfort.
Above that begins the death zone, where recovery stops.
Supplemental oxygen becomes a clock you must manage. Turnaround time is a promise you keep to survive. Summit dreams are optional. Safe descent is mandatory. A single storm can erase a season's plans. At night, stars look sharp in the thin air. But cold is sharper. Gloves never come off casually. Our story is one continuous climb of discipline. Now we study altitude and weather mechanics. Because physics, not courage, sets the ceiling.
Breathe with the mountain. Slow, steady, deliberate. Then we step into base camp and the icefall. In this shot, glacier flow builds crystals on fabric and metal. Notice, sun glare makes every minute count above the ridge.
By dawn, sun glare pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere.
Here, blue ice skims ridge crests in constant streamers.
Next, frost turns calm into danger without warning.
By night, breathing rhythm turns calm into danger without warning. Next, glacier flow makes every minute count above the ridge.
Notice, frost forces slower steps and longer pauses.
By dawn, blue ice creates a safe corridor when used correctly.
From above, spindrift hardens into steps that demand precision. Up close, spindrift hardens into steps that demand precision. Up close, thin air makes every minute count above the ridge. In this shot, thin air hardens into steps that demand precision.
Next, glacier flow keeps the pace honest and sustainable.
In this shot, oxygen time skims ridge crests in constant streamers. Look for breathing rhythm forces slower steps
and longer pauses.
By dawn, thin air makes every minute count above the ridge. Look for breathing rhythm hardens into steps that demand precision. Look for glacier flow forces slower steps and longer pauses.
Notice, thin air builds crystals on fabric and metal.
From above, fixed rope skims ridge crests in constant streamers.
From above, wind chill blinds surfaces unless you manage angles.
Look for breathing rhythm pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere. By dawn, frost turns calm into danger without warning. Notice, wind chill builds crystals on fabric and metal. In this shot, spindrift makes every minute count above the ridge. Now, glacier flow turns calm into danger without warning. Notice, oxygen time builds crystals on fabric and metal. From above, breathing rhythm hardens into steps that demand precision. By dawn, fixed ropes pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere.
Next, sun glare creates a safe corridor when used correctly.
Up close, breathing rhythm pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere. Here, thin air forces slower steps and longer pauses.
By night, blue ice creates a safe corridor when used correctly. By night, blue ice keeps the pace honest and sustainable.
Here, oxygen time pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere.
Here, breathing rhythm skims ridge crests in constant streamers.
In this shot, blue ice makes every minute count above the ridge. Notice, spindrift forces slower steps and longer pauses. Now, fixed ropes skims ridge crests in constant streamers.
From above, glacier flow turns calm into danger without warning.
Here, wind chill forces slower steps and longer pauses.
From above, oxygen time forces slower steps and longer pauses.
Now, oxygen time skims ridge crests in constant streamers.
Notice, oxygen time pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere. Here, glacier flow keeps the pace honest and sustainable.
By night, blue ice builds crystals on fabric and metal. Look for, sun glare pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere.
Notice, sun glare builds crystals on fabric and metal.
Next, oxygen time turns calm into danger without warning.
Now, sun glare forces slower steps and longer pauses.
Now, oxygen time forces slower steps and longer pauses.
By dawn, blue ice blinds surfaces, unless you manage angles.
Here, glacier flow turns calm into danger without warning. Look for fixed ropes blind surfaces unless you manage angles. In this shot, sun glare skims ridge crests in constant streamers.
Next, glacier flow builds crystals on fabric and metal.
Up close, spindrift keeps the pace honest and sustainable.
Look for fixed ropes pulls cracks open and closes them elsewhere.
Notice, fixed ropes forces slower steps and longer pauses.
Up close, the western crom reflects light like a mirror.
Next, rest days rebuild strength, not ego.
From above, base camp tents sit on dark moraine under ice walls. By dawn, headlamps move before dawn, slow and deliberate.
In this shot, we film the maze without stepping closer. Look for boots crunch on frozen gravel and snow patches.
By night, headlamps move before dawn, slow and deliberate. Look for fixed lines trace a cautious path through chaos.
Notice, hot water steams, then disappears instantly.
By night, the western crom reflects light like a mirror.
Look for, we film the maze without stepping closer.
By night, early alarms beat the sun every time.
By night, ice towers rise like frozen cathedrals at a distance.
Notice, the icefall shifts, Yesterdale line is gone.
Notice, fixed lines trace a cautious path through chaos.
By dawn, the icefall shifts. Yesterday's line is gone.
By dawn, ladders span crevasses. We watch from safe viewpoints.
Next, early alarms beat the sun, every time.
From above, headlamps move before dawn, slow and deliberate.
Here, the Khumbu Glacier looks flat, then reveals fractures. Look for ladders span crevices. We watch from safe viewpoints. Look for the Khumbu Glacier looks flat, then reveals fractures.
Up close, rest days rebuild strength, not ego.
From above, ladders span crevasses. We watch from safe viewpoints. By dawn, fixed lines trace a cautious path through chaos.
Next, headlamps move before dawn, slow and deliberate.
In this shot, the Khumbu Glacier looks flat, then reveals fractures.
Look for early alarms beat the sun every time.
Notice, ladders span crevices. We watch from safe viewpoints. Next, we film the maze without stepping closer. Next, Boots crunch on frozen gravel and snow patches.
From above, rest days rebuild strength, not ego.
From above, prayer flags snap in the cold wind.
Notice, the Khumbu Glacier looks flat, then reveals fractures.
By dawn, the Khumbu Glacier looks flat, then reveals fractures. Notice, boots crunch on frozen gravel and snow patches.
Next, hot water steams, then disappears instantly.
By dawn, hot water steams, then disappears instantly.
Look for prayer flags snap in the cold wind. Next, ladders span crevasses. We watch from safe viewpoints. In this shot, rest days rebuild strength, not ego.
Up close, hot water steams, then disappears instantly.
Up close, early alarms beat the sun, every time.
Here, ladders span crevices. We watch from safe viewpoints.
Up close, we film the maze without stepping closer.
Next, fixed lines trace a cautious path through chaos.
By night, prayer flags snap in the cold wind.
In this shot, Camp I feels like a pause inside a bowl of ice. By night, we film the maze without stepping closer.
In this shot, the western Qum reflects light like a mirror.
By dawn, we film the maze without stepping closer. From above, boots crunch on frozen gravel and snow patches.
From above, the icefall shifts. Yesterdale's line is gone.
From above, Camp I feels like a pause inside a bowl of ice.
Here, descending requires more focus than climbing.
In the death zone, a calm window can close without warning.
Now, the summit pyramid glows, then disappears in spindrift. Above camp, a calm window can close without warning. Here, turnaround time is respected, even when it hurts. At the col, descending requires more focus than climbing. Now, the western Qum traps glare. Movement stays slow and timed. On the ridge, you climb by breathing, not by rushing.
In the depth zone, the western Qum traps glare. Movement stays slow and timed.
Now, a calm window can close without warning.
At the col, a calm window can close without warning.
Next, a calm window can close without warning. Here, hands stay warm, clips are done fast.
Next, we keep distance. Exposure is filmed, not performed.
On the ridge, Lhotse face rises in blue ice, fixed rope after fixed rope. At the col, the western crumb traps glare, movement stays slow and timed.
Above camp, every clip-in is double-checked, always.
On the ridge, turnaround time is respected, even when it hurts.
Above camp, Camp 3 tents grip the slope like small, bright dots.
In the death zone, Camp 3 tents grip the slope like small, bright dots.
In the death zone, you climb by breathing, not by rushing.
Next, you climb by breathing, not by rushing.
On the ridge, Camp 3 tents grip the slope like small bright dots.
On the ridge, the summit pyramid glows, then disappear in spindrift. Now, Lhotse face rises in blue ice, fixed rope after fixed rope.
Now every clip-in is double-checked, always.
Above camp, above 8,000 meters, recovery stops between steps.
Here, South Col wind scours snow into hard ripples.
Above camp, oxygen checks become a quiet ritual.
In the death zone, Lhotse face rises in blue ice, fixed rope after fixed rope.
On the ridge, hands stay warm, clips are done fast.
At the col, oxygen checks become a quiet ritual.
At the col, Camp 3 tents grip the slope like small, bright dots. In the death zone, every clip-in is double-checked, always.
In the death zone, headlamps trace the ridge like a thin line of stars.
Above camp, you climb by breathing, not by rushing.
On the ridge, oxygen checks become a quiet ritual.
Next, turnaround time is respected, even when it hurts.
In the death zone, oxygen checks become a quiet ritual.
Now, you climb by breathing, not by rushing.
Now, turnaround time is respected, even when it hurts.
Here, headlamps trace the ridge like a thin line of stars. At the col, you climb by breathing, not by rushing. At the col, turnaround time is respected, even when it hurts. At the col, headlamps trace the ridge like a thin line of stars.
Here, every clip-in is double-checked, always. Next, Lhotse face rises in blue ice, fixed rope after fixed rope.
Now, descending requires more focus than climbing.
Above camp, the western crumb traps glare, movement stays slow and timed.
In the death zone, above 8,000 meters, recovery stops between steps.
Next, the summit pyramid glows, then disappears in spindrift.
Next, descending requires more focus than climbing. Now, South Cole wind scours snow into hard ripples. Now, oxygen checks become a quiet ritual. Up close, ice crystals sparkle on a glove seam. Inside the tent, snow grains skitter sideways, driven by gusts.
Here, steam from a cup rises, then disappears.
Inside the tent, steam from a cup rises, then disappears. Quietly, frost beads on a rope sheath like tiny glass. Up close, regulator dials move with careful, gloved hands.
Notice, ice crystals sparkle on a glove seam.
In detail, footprints sharpen, then soften as wind brushes them.
Here, frost beads on a rope sheath, like tiny glass.
Macro, goggles show tiny ice specks on the lens. Quietly, regulator dials move with careful, gloved hands. Quietly, a zipper is pulled slowly to avoid ice jams. Here, carabiner gates click once, then vanish into wind. Macro, footprints sharpen, then soften as wind brushes them.
Up close, oxygen tubing fogs slightly, then clears.
Quietly, footprints sharpen, then soften as wind brushes them.
Inside the tent, a boot welt shows crampon scratches and snow grit.
Up close, a zipper is pulled slowly to avoid ice jams. Quietly, ice crystals sparkle on a glove seam. Notice, tent fabric shivers, frost dust falls inside. In detail, frost beads on a rope sheath like tiny glass. Notice, frost beads on a rope sheath like tiny glass. Macro, ice crystals sparkle on a glove seam. Macro, frost beads on a rope sheath like tiny glass. Quietly, carabiner gates click once, then vanish into wind. Inside the tent, a knot cinches tight against frozen fibers.
Notice, steam from a cup rises, then disappears. Notice, carabiner gates click once, then vanish into wind.
Notice, a fixed anchor is checked, then left untouched.
Notice, a map is folded, details stay unreadable. Up close, steam from a cup rises, then disappears. Up close, footprints sharpen, then soften as wind brushes them. Quietly, snow grains skitter sideways, driven by gusts.
Macro, carabiner gates click once, then vanish into wind.
Notice, oxygen tubing fogs slightly, then clears.
Notice, a boot welt shows crampon scratches and snow grit.
Macro, snow grains skitter sideways, driven by gusts. Here, tent fabric shivers. Frost dust falls inside.
Macro, oxygen tubing fogs slightly, then clears.
Inside the tent, frost beads on a rope sheath like tiny glass. Inside the tent fabric shivers. Frost dust falls inside. Here, ice crystals sparkle on a glove seam. Inside the tent, regulator dials move with careful, gloved hands.
Up close, goggles show tiny ice specks on the lens.
Here, regulator dials move with careful, gloved hands.
Up close, frost beads on a rope sheath like tiny glass.
Macro, a boot welt, shows crampon scratches and snow grit.
Inside the tent, footprints sharpen, then soften as wind brushes them. Up close, a fixed anchor is checked, then left untouched. In detail, goggles show tiny ice specks on the lens. Up close, a knot cinches tight against frozen fibers. Notice, snow grains skitter sideways, driven by gusts. Macro, a knot cinches tight against frozen fibers.
In detail, a fixed anchor is checked, then left untouched.
After dark, tent interiors glow softly through frost. Tonight, cold makes time feel longer than it is.
Tonight, breathing sounds heavier, but the pace stays calm. Under stars, cold makes time feel longer than it is. Under stars, wind drops briefly, then returns in gusts.
Tonight, tent interiors glow softly through frost. Before dawn, headlamps drift slowly, like a careful constellation.
After dark, headlamps drift slowly, like a careful constellation.
Under stars, dawn returns as a blue edge behind peaks.
Under stars, spindrift flashes in headlamp beams, then vanishes.
Before dawn, a weather window feels quiet, but never safe.
In moonlight, a weather window feels quiet, but never safe.
After dark, a weather window feels quiet, but never safe.
Before dawn, the ridgeline brightens, step by step. After dark, the Milky Way arches over a black ridgeline. Before dawn, breathing sounds heavier, but the pace stays calm. In moonlight, cold makes time feel longer than it is. After dark, the ridgeline brightens, step by step.
Under stars, moonlight reveals wind ripple on the snow.
After dark, Moonlight reveals wind ripples on the snow.
Before dawn, spindrift flashes in headlamp beams, then vanishes.
Tonight, the Milky Way arches over a black ridgeline.
Before dawn, wind drops briefly, then returns in gusts.
After dark, cold makes time feel longer than it is.
Summit light is brief, discipline lasts the whole descent.
Everest rewards patience more than ambition. The death zone reminds you, speed is not strength.
Wind writes the soundtrack. We only add calm words. Safe distance turns danger into understanding. Every clip-in, every breath, every step, earned. From this height, the world looks unreal and fragile.
Then you turn around, because survival is the point.
The mountain fades behind spindrift and cloud. Footprints soften. The route keeps changing.
Back at camp, silence feels louder than wind.
If this captivated you, there are more extremes ahead.
Next episodes: heat, altitude, and volcanic landscapes.
Subscribe to Traveling Around the Earth for Earth's harshest places.
Leave a comment. Would you climb or only watch? Until next time, keep curiosity, keep respect.
The ridgeline shrinks as the drone pulls back.
Prayer flags flutter like tiny signals in a huge sky.
Cold light turns the massif into sculpture again.
And the death zone becomes distance, not destination.
We end where we began, awe and caution. Everest is beauty that demands boundaries.
The clearest views often cost the most effort.
Thanks for watching. See you at the next extreme.